Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the INKEE Benbox. This is a dual-band wireless video transmitter that retails for a little under $110 US. I'll include a link in the description, and this was furnished to me by the manufacturer for review purposes. Now, this already impresses me, and that's why I agreed to review it, because it's the smallest and least expensive product of its kind. Previously, the INKEE at $200 US was in that position. It still has a larger battery at 3,500 milliamp hours compared to the 2,500 milliamp hour battery that is on board this device. However, this is smaller and basically just about half the price. As you can see, compatible with iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows, and it also supposedly is able to control camera functions. Of course, I will be testing all of that out. And it's really just basically impossible to beat this at its price point. So let me go ahead and open this up. And remember that, this does require a companion device to wirelessly connect to. So unlike the Hollyland Mars 300 or 400S, which include both a transmitter as well as a receiver, here you have just a transmitter. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as it fits your workflow. And of course, it will fit your budget. Now, you can already see how small that is. Really, really small. I think it's something like 5 ounces. And we've got the HDMI port right there, a Type-C port right there, and a USB-A port as well. And that's because not only can you obviously charge this through Type-C, but as I mentioned, camera control is a feature of this device. We have a power LED right there, as well as multiple LEDs to show its charge, I'm assuming, and it's just really, really small. Obviously, that is the cold shoe mount, and just for size comparison, you can see that it is just incredibly small when put next to the INKEE, which again is the only other product of this kind that I would recommend. And the INKEE does a great job. If this does as good a job and just has slightly less battery life, that's going to make this a clear, far and away winner over the INKEE, because smaller, less expensive. And remember, you can always power this. Usually, I'm not going to say I know this in advance, but you can power these using their USB ports. So if you have a dummy battery on your camera, then you can easily use, for example, an NP battery, something like that, to power this and the camera. So we'll get there. See what else is in the packaging. I'm expecting some cables, and wow, as I said that, the cable party has arrived. So what do we have? We've got, so this looks like these are all for camera control, and I say that because you can see this is a Type A to a pin. It is not specific to, well, they have them labeled. So this is for Panasonic cameras. And this is interesting because, again, this is going to permit you to actually control camera functions. We've got Sony, which is why it's a micro USB to Type A right here. We also have just a Type-C cable, so Type A to Type-C. Here we've got micro USB to Type A, not branded specifically for a specific camera. And then last but not least, mini USB. You don't see that very often anymore to Type A, but there are still manufacturers that utilize that. So I've already given you a side-by-side, and of course we have instructions right here, which I will be looking at. Remember, as I mentioned, 2,500 milliamp hour battery, which is not bad at all. Again, at $110, how do you beat this? Heat dissipation right here on the back, basically built-in heat sink. It's just incredibly small. And so I know I already put this side by side, but let's compare it, even though that's the direct comparison, to something like a Hollyland product, which is rock solid in terms of dependability. So this is the 300, really one of the more affordable options out there. And again, you have your reference point. Now, granted, you're going to need that companion device, either a tablet, phone, or computer, but with a traditional transmission system, you're still going to need a monitor. So it's not like you can cut out, any other piece of hardware. Yes, from a reliability standpoint, a dedicated device like this that isn't relying on Wi-Fi should, in theory, be better. And yes, more features. I mean, you can see right there, We have HDMI in and out. I mean, you're going to get more features as you step up through the different products that Hollyland and other manufacturers have to offer, but that's not who this is aimed at. It's aimed at someone who either is strictly confined by their budget, again, $110 roughly, or just really wants to travel light and doesn't see a need. Again, if this performs as well as I've read that it does, if it does perform that well, then you don't really need to lug around a traditional transmission system, spend the amount of money that they command. So it'll be cool to test out. Again, I'm just shocked at how small this thing is when you compare it to what I have been using, because this has been my go-to for anything that if I want to travel light but still want to have my preview capability. This has been rock solid. Pairing this up with my Tab S6, it works beautifully. And since they do offer the same distance, I believe, and again, 1080p, 60 frames per second transmission quality, I mean, this seems to be a no-brainer. But I'm not shocked, because with a little bit of time, it was bound to happen that we'd get something that could perform better in a smaller package and at a less expensive price. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Let me test it and then tell you if it is actually better than the Cine I. But that's it. Again, the INKEE Benbox. Excited to get this set up, test it out, and report back to all of you whether or not it outperforms the Cine I, which, again, if it does, well, you don't have to really wonder whether it's worth picking up, because it will be an absolute must-have for those of you out there, again, looking to travel light and do so economically. Really not much else to say. Just remember, smaller battery here, but that's kind of a given considering the size of the Cine I. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. And please stay safe. Later.